So how was it? Was it useful?
Very useful.
Yeah.
It was also very encouraging to see that he didn't have a degree.
I can give you many such examples like this. There are many examples I have seen personally, and some of them I wanted to invite here, but still in the pipeline, so then not agreed upon. There's the thing that is important is that what you really want. You heard him say, I don't need to repeat. He was the right audience. You were the right audience for him, and you wanted him. He did it exactly what you wanted to hear.
Yeah.
I think he was probably more relevant to you than the VP himself.
Well, yeah, he was very relevant.
Yeah, that's how I see it.
Yeah, I like talking to hiring managers.
Yes.
Like finding out what they
It's a very good example about having degree and not degree getting mixed up. Next week.
Right.
Saturday.
I'm always having serious. I'll be there.
Yep. So are we ready to start discussion, or we want to have a side discussion?
We didn't start, but I mean, like these dudes.
Okay. So can you recap what did we do the last time?
Oh, you were gonna ask questions today, right? Oh yeah, we have the question for the round robin team, right? Thanks for reminding me, man.
That was last Thursday.
Oh, that was last Thursday.
Yeah,
Oh.
we was gonna do that. Doesn't count.
Okay. So the last Thursday we did not have a class apparently, right? Or did we? Tuesday we did not have a class because of Veterans Day.
Right.
So that you celebrated, and I was busy doing something for you, which I have here. What I have here is an OpenStack deployed on a box, and you can use it right now. We'll set it up. It's already set up, by the way. I just had to power it up. Now, having said that, what I would like you to do is to actually make use of that OpenStack and understand what it means, because this is what is a very scarce skill to use, understand, comprehend, figure out what it is. And many companies that are big and small are deploying OpenStack because it is useful. It gives them their own private little cloud. It doesn't have to be little, right? It gives them a private cloud that they can use without depending on anybody else outside. So 18th we will have a Boeing person come here, and Boeing is deploying a private cloud using OpenStack. There is a company probably going to come at some day, which is Redapt, you may have heard of. They are specializing in OpenStack deployments. You have seen OpenStack website with all these companies that list what they are doing with OpenStack and how they are using OpenStack, and the only shortage or the constraint that industry today has is there are not enough people capable of using OpenStack is the only limiting factor that is coming in the way of OpenStack's adoption, which means there is opportunity to earn money. Simple. Learn it, earn money. It is hard. I'll discuss specifically and go in detail about OpenStack at some point, either today or the next time. Having said, the three big players, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, are doing their own cloud. Everybody else have come together to create OpenStack. That's what HP Cloud is doing, IBM is doing, Cisco is doing, Rackspace is doing, NASA is doing. NASA, the space company. It's not a company, is it? Some organization. It's organization, yeah. So this guy Rahul used to work for Indian NASA, essentially, and that's what ISRO is. ISRO. That's sent the Mangalyaan to moon. That spacecraft that went to Mars. It's Mangal. Mars is Mangal. Mangalyaan is the name. Mars is called Mangal in Hindi. And so that's the same organization that he used to work for. He's actually a rocket scientist who eventually became a software person, which is what it is. So he was actually with Chrysler for a few years before he started his MBA, 1 year ahead of me. That's how we met. Then he worked at a variety of places. His profile is on LinkedIn. You can see him. I'm connected, and I'm probably connected with all of these guys that you see here, and you are free to connect them. They have given us, I did not expect, gave us an opportunity to visit them, which is amazing. But even more importantly, they have given us an opportunity for them to be mentoring you, one-on-one mentoring. Do you realize what that means?
Yeah.
Do you realize? Make sure you sign up and religiously do the due diligence of going to meet the mentor. Don't lose that opportunity. It's hard to get. It's actually very hard to get an industry mentor in the industry you want to go in. So if they give you an opportunity, take up on it. Show up in time. Do the honors. Listen and ask. Discuss. It is not a job interview. It's a discussion. It's a mentorship. You understand what mentoring is. That's what they want to do to you. And the company that they represent, what was the name of the company again? Aptio. Yeah. So Aptio has $150 million of investment from outside, right? So who's investing into this company? Madrona. Do you know who Madrona is?
Yeah, I've heard a lot of money.
They have a lot of money. And all they do is invest in various technology companies. So when Rahul was saying they have 50 investments, it means they have 50 Aptio-like companies that they have invested money in, betting that at least half of them will succeed, even if other half fail. That's how they're venture capitalists. So they'll bet money on a variety of different portfolio of companies or organizations, invest a whole boat of billions of dollars, invest across multiple companies. Some of them will really, really do very well, and then they don't even care what happens to the other guys. It doesn't matter to them. So it's a portfolio of investments that they do, and what he is saying is that he'll connect us with Madrona, and through Madrona to all other companies that they manage their investment portfolio of investment in technology companies. It means that it's a boatload of opportunities focusing on you. That's what it means. Take up on it. It's amazing that he said that. I did not even expect him to come here. I thought only Jason will come, but he showed up himself, which shows commitment. Shows commitment. It is hard for him to actually drive. Like, he took 2 hours to drive here.
Yeah.
Nobody does that. Nobody does that. Even I won't do that. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. Even I won't do that. It's 2 hours. I'm not going. That's what I would say. But he did that, and it's just amazing. I gave him an offer. Can come here on Google Hangout, and he says no. I'm coming.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. So he came. And it'll probably take 1 hour more for him to go back. He's almost neighbor to me in Sammamish. So lives right there, almost. So that's about him. Remind me, what were we discussing in this class? Because I get totally lost. So please.
You have other classes.
Yeah, I get lost. So please, 3 sentences. What did we do the last time we met? So I can build up on that.
Now, I was looking at the transcript from November 4th. It was pretty much review.
2 months before.
That's also him on LinkedIn.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you very much.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you,
I was
sir.
just looking at you're charging your car.
I know.
Don't you need a 220 outlet?
No, it's regular.
Regular?
Regular. It also charges on regular. Yeah, regular. It charges on regular as well as a higher volt, which I have in home, but it's just to top it off.
Did you see that they basically open sourced their design and everything?
Yeah, they open source all their patents.
That's awesome.
All of their
Did you see
patents.
that? They basically opened all their patents.
All the patent portfolio is open.
Wow, amazing.
Leadership. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you very much for coming.
Yeah, I didn't want to disturb you in the class. I thought I'll just send you a mail, but I'm glad you came by.
Thank you.
So yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks for having us over.
absolutely.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you coming. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Take care.
Bye.
Aaron got it. Black and white, see if that helps.
Yeah, Aaron, put it on the flash.
Yeah, put it on the class.
So everyone
You can read my hand.
Yes, please remind me what did we do the last time? If you please
review.
review, and what else? Some subjects.
You asked us
Questions and review, and any topic did we discuss? Netflix?
Netflix.
Did we discuss Netflix?
Did you do a case study on Netflix?
We kind of began towards it. We did not conclude
Case study
it.
now.
Let's do that. We did not conclude it, right? We did not conclude as to how will it actually work out. I also asked you a question.
Ask me a question.
Yeah, so what did you do with the question? He gave you an assignment. Thank you. What did you do with that question?
Oh, how will we do the infrastructure for
Yeah.
911?
So tell me that. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for doing that, writing it up. Yeah, so he gave an assignment to you. I remember that. Thank you for your reminder.
See you on Saturday.
So that was due on what day?
The 17th.
Yeah, it's due on Saturday the 17th.
On which month? December?
Monday, 17th.
Oh yeah, Monday the 17th.
Yeah,
Let's make it December. Let's do that. That way.
You said Saturday, it sounded good.
So you gave ample time for yourself? Is that what the idea was?
Exactly. So we can snowball and just discuss it through class.
Yeah, I think we should do that.
I agree. Because I failed completely on doing that side.
Good times. An empty stomach, and I feel.
So let's do that case study again, one more time. I think I began discussing it but did not conclude it. So,
Sounds good.
The best beer I've ever had.
I believe it. It's Belgium, Australia.
Sounds like a good
Oh, that's actually
I don't really drink, but I had some beer over there.
so does this picture look scary to you?
Yes.
What does
2
it
months
do?
ago, it would have looked absolutely terrifying, but it's not as scary looking.
No.
Okay, so if it is not scary, I would like to ask you to describe at least the topic. What is it about? Media sharing. What are they doing? What are they discussing? Let's look at this.
Discussing sharing media.
Like, what do you mean by media?
How it's
Like
distributed.
videos or
Photos,
music,
Instagram.
something that you look at.
So how
Yeah.
it's processed
Either you
and
create or you
posted.
consume, right? You create or consume, both ways.
Yeah.
So if you're creating, you need to do something like called,
Upload.
and you are consuming, then it's called?
Download.
Exactly. So very simple, right? So
Oh, that class is over. Good job.
I'm going to share this with the mighty council.
So if you look at some of the elements, I'm going to go through block by block to help you understand what these things are and then relate to the examples and also the assignment that he gave you, right? Let's do that. Item by item. Begin with the dude. This dude is you.
Okay.
What does the dude do?
He consumes and creates.
Right. So the first thing that this person does is looks at Route 53. What does Route 53 do?
Domain name service.
Name to number translation, name to IP address translation. So you have, say, some website, let's call it tmc911.com. Right, that's the new 911 service TMC is going to create. TMC is all of you also, by the way. He happens to be also TMC.
Here's the information for FTI Council.
So the idea is that tmc911.com becomes a 911 enhanced service where anybody can pick up their phones, FaceTime, any emergency situation, transmit the video. You're essentially uploading. That application that runs on the phone needs to connect to some service. The service will be called tmc911.com. You need some name to number translation to understand where the service needs to go, to which IP address it needs to go. So that is the role of this function called Route 53. Right? You understand how to configure it?
Yeah.
It's very easy. Go to Route 53, pay 50 cents a month. You know what it is. You've done it. That gives you an IP address to go to. And that IP address is where the person who's using this guy, who's using an iPhone, that person will take the iPhone and send it to that media file itself. It's a transportation of continuous delivery of video, frame by frame. The picture or the picture after picture, a continuous video stream is getting uploaded somewhere. That's how other people will receive your video. If you're sending it picture after picture, 24 frames per second, conceptually speaking, that stream of pictures is going. It's called video. A stream of pictures, essentially. More than 24 frames per second, a frame is a click. So if you click this button
Took 20.
one times, like this, let's say start it and click. It's not clicking.
Is yours 24 frames per second?
It's more than that. So here, it's not going to click for some reason, but whatever. Yeah, it's Nikon. So whenever you click a picture like this, it is actually taking 24 pictures per second. And in case of the iPhone, they have a 60 or even more, 240 frames per second in this picture. You see that? It says 240 FPS. If you can,
You mean in the video?
yeah, in the slow-mo video, you can shoot 240 frames per second. It's actually shooting like that. So when it's 240 frames per second, what does it mean?
More pictures
Pictures
taken.
takes in a second.
It means 1 second, there are 240 pictures being taken. It is way more than what a human eye needs to see. So you can get down the bit rate or the frame rate and slow it down to create a slow-mo. That's where it comes from. You understand that? Slow-mo part? You have it in your video, in your phone's slow-mo video, and you can basically make sense of it. Essentially is that it comes from the fact that you slow down the frame rate. Now in normal videos, it's typically 15 to 24 frames per second. That is what is going on. So these are the frames that are being transmitted. You see the mouse arrow, right? Do you?
Yes.
Okay. Is it too small or too big? Visible? Yeah, this one is big, good enough. So this is the mouse that I'm pointing at. This guy is taking pictures after pictures, essentially shooting video and sending it over to this black box. What is this black box?
Elastic load balancer.
So that would be like engine.
What does it do? It does load balancing. It is the guy at the traffic cop that says you go here and you go there. And this traffic cop is essentially transporting traffic to this box or that box or this box or that box. Two of them. You can have more.
Put it on a-
See, the yellow arrows show that it is expandable,
So that would be like EC2,
like elastic.
elastic.
It is the arrow, the yellow colored, orange colored arrows with triangular arrows are showing that it is expandable. You can add more, you can shrink it back, depending on how many users are sending their FaceTime videos. You get that?
Yep.
So if you have more traffic, what do?
Expand.
Expand.
Get bigger.
If you have this black box is an example of a company that Jeff was referring to me about. It's called F5 Networks.
Yep.
We'll give you this box as an example. And these boxes are deployed to listen for uploads. So these are upload web servers. See that name here?
Yep.
All they do is accept incoming video traffic primarily. And then video traffic is received, then you hand off that to another box, which is another service, by the way. The service is called a queue here. I'm going to, yes, who said that was SQS? You probably used it. So the Amazon SQS. So can you tell me why do we have to have a queue? And why not do that same work in this box itself? Why not do it here?
I don't know. Because if you do the work over there, if there are like, let's say that if like millions of jobs in there, then you start like stacking in there and it won't, work won't get done.
Yes.
So queue will prioritize which one
Yes. So a simple example of this: if you have too many people waiting to give you something, like like getting a driver's license. Very simple example. Too many people wanting to get a driver's license. What you can do is, if we just take two people, there are two officers assigning driver's licenses. If there are two people wanting a DL, you just service them right there on the spot. Bring it on. Give your name, take a picture, your ID, and all that verification is done. I'll print the driver's license right now, right here on a plastic. Here it is, full service, on the spot. That is possible, but they don't do it that way. Do you know why?
If they don't have control over who's going to come there.
Right. And another thing is, if they actually see a flood of people coming, then what happens? You basically take a lot of time for everybody to be processed, and everybody else will start complaining to the senators and the Congress people, right? Which becomes a problem. That this DMV sucks, it's too slow. So what they do is ask you to fill up a form, fill your application, submit, and go. We'll mail it to your home. That's what a queue is. So they collect the forms, put them in a queue, stack them up. And then the queue will operate from the first, on the top. There are two types of queues at least. Yes. What are the two types?
First
in, first out. FIFO and LIFO, the full names are FIFO, first in, first out. That's the common queue that you already know, right?
Right.
All humans are very aware of this FIFO queue. FIFO. First come, first serve is the idea. But that may not be needed all the time. Sometimes the opposite is needed. Last in, first out is also a valid case. It doesn't apply to humans. But last in, first out can be a way of processing. That's second way. LIFO, whatever you call it. Last in, first out. How do you do that? You get the item, you put it on top, and then another on top, and another on top, and you keep accumulating. This is what is called a pile. Or
Like
in
a restaurant, like in a buffet, all the plates go down, so whatever plate goes first, it comes last.
That's right. So you go to any restaurant where they have a like self-serve restaurant, they have an empty plate stacked up. You don't go to the bottom and pull out the plate from the top because it came first.
Your hand's already on top too.
Right. In probably where he goes, which is probably an Indian eating place, they don't have a dispenser, so they'll stack it up.
I know Chinese.
A Chinese? Okay.
Chinese buffet.
Chinese buffet, yeah. Indian. Yeah.
I love them.
Napkins is first in, first out.
Yeah. So some cases where stack is not first in, first out, and the valid scenario is you pick up on top. The last plate that was put on top gets picked up, and it's okay.
Free buffet for soldiers at a Puyallup Indian buffet place.
When?
Every Tuesday, every last Tuesday.
Aha.
Thank you.
All right.
Post it on Classroom. So post the address so that people can go.
There's an Indian.
Gonna go there with us?
Indian
Karma?
They'll not give me free, but I'll come.
Free buffet for soldiers if you show your activity ID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can come, but I'll not get free. It's okay. So on this LIFO FIFO queue, there are other types of queues. The simple implementation of this LIFO queue is called a stack. It's also called LIFO. It's also called a queue of some sort. Can you give me another example which is neither LIFO nor FIFO? Example.
Mixed one. It's mixed one. It's it's an accounting term, but
You're not the types of the queue, like in queue, DQ.
what?
No.
It's an average.
Yes, that's a good example. Triage and assigning prioritized queue. Emergency people, I mean the people who need emergency services get top priority no matter when you came. Very good one. That's exactly true. That's what I was looking for, is a priority queue.
Well, and that's how most services are run by criticality level and business.
That is correct. So customer service queues are also run by priority and criticality and all those things. Very true. What is the mathematically most optimal way of managing queue so that the queue itself is very small at all times?
On demand.
No, it's neither LIFO nor FIFO. The mathematically optimal, it's very unnatural, but I'll tell you that. You actually calculate amount of time it will take for processing all of the items. And then you find out which processing will take the shortest amount of time and do that one first. And if you do it that sequence, you will keep the queue length to a very short number.
But then you always have items that just stay on the list and never leave.
Right. But at least you will reduce the frustration of people. So in human queues, when people are waiting, you will see this behavior. When the officer will come, hey, do you just want to drop off a package? Have you seen that?
USPS does that.
Yeah. Do you just want to drop off a package? Yeah, give it to me.
Package, yeah.
You don't have to wait in line. That's an implementation to reduce frustration of people.
Yes.
And that is mathematically also accurate to identify how much time will it take for every processing to finish, and then sort them by the order of amount of time it takes to finish with the lowest on top, and you pick the lowest first, and then keep
That's why
going.
You have the express checkout lines at
Yes,
grocery stores.
same concept. You know, 3 items or less, special line for you, right? You've seen that. Safeway, whatever.
That's what you have to do.
Yeah, or 10 items or less, 10 in your hand, you go here, special route for you, self-checkout, something different, something special, prioritized to reduce frustration. That is mathematically understood, as well as people apply it in a common sense situation. Even if it is not a priority, you can get a faster route out because you have only small things to do.
Right.
Just drop off a package or priority checkout just because you have 3 items. Right? It doesn't have to be an emergency case. You can still exit quickly. because there is no such emergency case in a checkout line, mostly. Assuming, of course there are situations where you can have emergency, but generally there are none. So that's a queuing system. And so the idea behind this queue is what? What are they doing in this queue? All the incoming videos. Just put a marker. Yeah. Why is this thing coming in? This is the third time I've seen it.
Somebody's trying to get in your account.
I know. Actually, I know what's going on. It's my password. They want my password. I changed my iCloud password. That's where it's coming from. So there is a power button there.
So you have it like thermal grenade?
You may want to exercise that one.
And they can move the printer to like that office over there.
Yeah. So
Makes sense.
It's not inducive for a classroom.
yep. But this is not a classroom, right? The other one was a classroom which we moved to here, moved to this room from.
This is now our classroom.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what it is. I suggested, but it didn't happen. I suggested to remove all these things and make more room, but it didn't work out. But that's okay. So as soon as the video file comes in into these boxes, what they will do is put them in.
Carriage?
Huh?
Carriage?
Put them in a bucket
Right.
in S3.
Yeah.
Simple storage service, right? So you move this way, and you put that in a bucket.
Right.
For every video file goes in the bucket, and what does go in the queue? If you put the video in the bucket, what goes in the queue?
The actual
Usually.
The people go home. People go home from here. They just put the video and they're gone.
Oh, okay.
Don't make people line up in a queue like this. They'll hate you.
They're not trying to get it, they're putting it there.
Right. So what do you actually put is the location, time, geographical location, coordinates, longitude, latitude, time of day, weather, GPS position. The video itself goes in S3. But what goes about the video in that queue is about the video, is video's address. Where is the video stored in the bucket?
Index?
Yeah, some pointer, some reference, some kind of a link. I'm talking about that video, not this. That reference has to go in a queue so that they can process it.
So would it be like if you were to have a DVD, like the DVD cover would go in the key and then the actual
Yes.
would go in the box?
That's right. That's a good analogy, and I'll give you one example. Where was that site you had in mind? That cat picture we had on some site, do you remember? Joseph said that. What was the name of the site? The cat picture we saw the last time? DeviantArt. DeviantArt. So let's DeviantArt, look at that again. And so we have this picture, okay? Yeah, it's a bad site. I mean, it's not really bad, but what it is this.
Show your pictures on here if you want to make
So you can say copy image URL, okay? So this flower picture we have. It's by this person, Muru, whatever. Yeah. No, that's not the person. The person was Soiko. So that's the name. This is the title of the picture. So let's look at this picture. Yeah. So let's look at the URL. See, what do we have? The protocol, HTTP. Then we have an address of a site. Then we have a bucket name, some more folders, date, more folders, and then the file name. Right? That's the file name, and sitting in some object somewhere, it's kind of stored. But this whole thing is a reference to the picture. The picture itself is stored in a bucket somewhere like this. Right? Now this link that you have, this one, is stored in the queue. In the object itself, the picture itself stores in S3. The video goes here. The reference to the video goes here, along with the person's name, number, phone number, geo coordinates, time of day, weather conditions, proximity, who else is nearby. Lots of information can go. Which other phones are in nearby. All that information is relevant. So you can put all that information in the queue as the person is calling into a 911 situation, tmc911.com. right? So that information sits here. The file itself is sitting here, and you let the person go, do whatever you want. You're done. Done sending video, fine. You can go. Now the next person, who is going to be an inspector or officer or somebody who's going to look at these videos, will again come to the same site, tmc911.com, this time through a browser. And he'll log in because he is an officer of the police or something, or maybe some other type, or emergency operator. So that person will look at the same site, log in. And what happens when you log in? And so you get a session created, and that login person will start sending a video feed to the upload engine. Is that what's going to happen?
No, so you're gonna ask or get a request for what is he trying to do? He's trying to ask.
Yeah, he's the inspector. Yeah. What do you think a police officer will do?
I mean, he can do both. I mean, he might.
Yeah, he can. If he is an emergency himself, he can upload.
Yeah.
But typically, I'll assume that an officer is not an emergency. So what he's going to do?
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to watch.
Stream.
Retrieve.
Yes, stream is the right word. Stream is the right word, but consume, right? You want to consume the video that other people have sent, right? So he or she is not going to be this direction. He is not coming here at all. Where is that person going to go?
Straight to video.
To the job queue.
To the web server.
To which web server? These?
Content delivery network.
These are web servers here. Will they go here?
No, be to the.
No, EC2, and from EC2 he goes straight to media files.
Here? Like this?
Yeah.
From here? No.
Go to a queue. Data store.
Go straight to the queue, go to the data store. Why would he go to the data store?
Wouldn't you just be going the same path, but
What's the
not?
question again?
The question, or rather the straight answer is, he or she will not go this direction.
Okay.
The straight answer is he'll go to the other direction. There's this other ELB.
Arrow.
There is an arrow. The arrow is like coming, it's like receiving, right? It is a receiving arrow. So these arrows are receiving. They're receiving as in streaming down to them. They'll connect to these servers, the ELB here. And that ELB will then fan out the workload among various officers inspecting variety of videos from variety of random events happened nationwide, or maybe King County wide, or whatever county wide. Is there King County here or no? Pierce County. So we might have the King County CIO come sometime soon. Yeah. King County CIO here. It might happen. He just said yes on Twitter. I tweeted, hey, would you come? He said, yeah, sign me up. So I've sent him an email. Let's see what happens. Now so the county officers will be looking at, depending on how many of them, this load balancer, this one, will balance out the load among these servers. And they can also scale. If there are more officers need to look, they can scale up these servers. Then the yellow arrows indicate expandability, like elasticity. When you say elastic, you know what I mean, right? I have not seen elastic in this country. That's my challenge. But it must be available. Like, what do you call elastic? It's not called elastic.
Rubber bands.
Rubber band. Rubber band. Yeah. So web servers, you can scale them up or scale them down depending on what you need. And what these web servers are doing? Huh? What these guys are doing? These two.
Scaling up.
Yeah, they'll scale by themselves, but one of them you will be using, this person will be using only one of them at a time. So what this role of this person, this object is? What is the function of this machine?
Whatever he's requesting to validate, maybe.
Yeah, validation is already happened and move along. So you know that he's an officer, she's an officer, and they want to look at videos. So
just
what?
retrieve that video and send it to him.
Retrieve how? Where? From where?
From data store.
From the data store, and you actually get the data from here and show who the user was. They can select the user they want to look at, and then the actual files come from here. CloudFront, which is a front end to S3.
So according to
this-
that map, how does the connection like work? Because you said the data is coming from data store, and you said that he will get the data from the cloud front, like according to this diagram, how it is working? Like,
So in very simple terms, if you want to access that picture of the flower, the picture of the flower that I had shown you just a few minutes ago, that our picture itself is sitting here,
okay,
but the address of the picture where it is stored is coming from the data store. And so this guy, this box will tell this person that, hey, I know the picture of that person. It is stored in this location. Let me give you the address. And then that address, this person will, the software itself will automatically post that address and grab that from CloudFront, which in turn will get from the S3.
okay,
And so it will go like this. There it comes. So I'll paste the URL, and it will go to the appropriate address point and bring it down.
so let's
And
say
this
that
is the application that will do it. The browser itself will go to that link and bring it out in a window, as opposed to not like this, but like this, in the context of everything else. So there is this context of other pictures, more from Vasoiko, and some commentary going on. This is beautiful magic and all that. So in the context of the whole picture, like this user, that time of day, this location, this was the video that was happening. Now you can see.
does the same scenario works for the Netflix video too?
Yeah,
Okay.
pretty much. Do you have a Netflix account? We can play it out. Log in. I don't have it, so log it in here and see. I can walk you through how it actually works. If you have an account, I'll ask you to come and log in. The idea would be to render that video that you want, that you ask for at the right time.
So in the similar cases, let's say that if 100 people request at the same time, how does it work in the same scenario, the same video?
If 100 officers are looking for the same item, for the same,
So you just need the address.
yeah, they'll give you the address for that video, and all these 100 officers can then simultaneously get served of that video, will get served to them through the same location. Again, the origin is same, here's the origin, and the delivery point is CloudFront. I'll give you another picture. Hold on.
It was
I think you
like when
sound
we were talking in
confusing.
last class, and the guest speaker said that it will like replicate, it makes copies as much.
Yes, I'll tell you how it replicates. Let me go there and pull it up. I'll pull up a picture of
Fungible
an
files.
example. Where is that thing called CDN? Yeah, so here is a picture and how I would do that. So I am in Seattle. I put my picture in S3, and that's the only place I put it. And this CloudFront is fronting it, meaning giving a front face to my bucket in S3,
Okay.
and automatically replicating that to any other location like UK, like Japan, like Singapore, like South Africa, or wherever that thing is, South America,
So,
or maybe New York, in any of the locations I need, or maybe Mexico, I don't know what that location is, but all these geographical locations, they will automatically replicate on demand,
on demand.
not by supply,
Okay.
on demand. It's not a push. You understand what a push would be, and as opposed to a pull.
Yeah, it keeps
It's-
sending.
It doesn't push.
Yeah.
It doesn't push.
Okay.
So there is no replication that automatically happens just by the fact that you have to have a user in Singapore that will ask for an object sitting in Seattle.
Okay.
So on demand it will trickle down. Once you have this object in that bucket trickle down to Singapore, then all the people in India and Nepal will be able to access it directly from Singapore without having to visit Seattle.
Okay.
So it's faster.
Okay.
The second visit will be faster. The first visit will be equally slow.
What is this whole process called? Like this
It's
verification?
called CDN, or
CDN.
Content Delivery Network.
Okay.
CDN is a technology, and this is an implementation of that technology.
But for Netflix, this is done by Amazon, right? All
Yes,
this.
yes.
Okay.
Netflix will use CloudFront to help them stream videos stored in variety of buckets in S3 across the nation, across the world actually. And this blog is implemented exactly what I'm talking about. This is what I have implemented, where this picture itself is replicated worldwide, this particular picture.
Okay.
So if you can take the image URL and look at it, what it is. It's actually coming from Dropbox,
Okay, digital.
right? Let's see what else we have here, which means there has to be a picture in my Dropbox somewhere that is this picture. That's what it means. You want to take a look at that? Let's see where it is actually stored. So you will go to Dropbox and go to public, and then go to blog, and then go to pictures, and then CloudFront. See that picture there? It is sitting on my Dropbox and getting replicated. This is the same picture. If I delete it from here, the site will go picture not found. You want to try that? So here, so it's called S3. I'm going to call it S4 just to rename it. Right? Let's refresh the site. The picture not found. And here's the picture not found problem. Right? Go back and say S3 and refresh, and picture is found.
So how does this work if your computer is not on the internet?
It is not. It's in Dropbox.
Oh, it's Dropbox. Okay.
You can power it off and it still works because it is in the cloud, right? So back to here. The idea behind a rendering of a video stream to this person is that this server will know where the video is actually sitting in the bucket, because of the data store will have that entry, and that video will come down to him because he's going to ask for that video, and that route of that video will be coming from here through CDN, through Content Delivery Network, not directly from S3, because S3 can be slow. It is only in certain region like Seattle or Oregon or wherever you have, but it's only that location. You want to make it available globally to wherever your customers are. You will use some CDN, and in this example it is CloudFront CDN. And so CloudFront, I'll give you one more example. Hold on. Terminal, and we'll go some dig. So here is terminal. You familiar with that?
Yeah.
Let's go dig. What do you see?
IP addresses.
Why there are so many of them?
Because it's replicated in so many places.
That's correct. That's what is happening right now. If you look at these IP addresses, they are globally spread out. Because the address blog.fungibleclouds.com is actually a alias, CNAME alias, to this random number I got from CloudFront, and that in turn is getting replicated globally. See that here?
No,
Yes.
question. So when you pay for that service, are you paying to like have this many boxes?
Yes.
that are replicating?
It's not box. It's just how a particular media file is consumed. So you based on consumption is what you pay for
Oh,
CloudFront.
this is strictly towards media.
Yeah. It's objects, not media. Objects. So it's strictly about objects. You have an object, you serve it to a user. Users are receiving the objects. They'll charge you by object. So it has no machine to worry about. So no need to think about machines. You just put an object, literally an object in a bucket. Don't have to worry about machines. You create your bucket in S3 and you put an item in there, and it becomes accessible based on permissions you set. If you secure it, nobody can access. If I put in an object in a bucket in S3, even I cannot access, unless I explicitly make it available for access to a user, including me. So bucket by definition is secure. You have to open it up for the world to see. You can open it up by time, or by user, or by public, like anybody can see any time, or a variety of rules you can put in place as to who can access what, when, why, and how. All these rules you can put in place in CloudFront. So this is where this guy is able to watch a video or more than one videos from wherever it is coming from, and the data about the videos are stored in data store. Now let us look at the other item here at the corner here in these black boxes. What are they doing? In the ample spare time that these computers have, they are dealing with the queue. And in the queue, they are going to do some processing. Like, okay, I got the video now, stored in here. I know where it is stored. I have the address, the person. I'll prepare some processing, like pipeline processing. What this processing will be doing essentially is to create a report. How many people called in this geographical region with 911, at what times of day, when do people typically call 911, all kinds of interesting reports can be prepared in back end. This is the back end processing. So all this thing is called back end essentially. These are front ends for video uploads, these are front ends for video downloads or streaming, and that is back end processing. You need that back end processing so you can let these people go home without waiting, without holding them up. Hey, let me finish my back-end processing and actually print the whole driver license for you while you wait 3 hours. Not needed, right? So you can let them go home, do whatever they want. You can continue back-end processing on your own time, and that's where even sometimes work happens too much. Like work accumulates and queue accumulates. What do you do in that case? You put more people on, put more machines on task, and that's what this arrow is. These arrows, orange, yellow, colored scaling boxes will scale up, finish off the queue, get the job done, and when the job is done, when the queue is low or zero, you shrink it down to bare minimum, maybe one box running, doing nothing. And when you have queue growing up, you can just add more boxes and finish off the queue. So depending on how deep the queue is, you can associate that logic to put how many servers I want and adjust it accordingly, and then process the detail needed and put that in the right location, put that media file in this bucket, put the data about the media file in the data store, and your job in the back end is done. Your front end will serve the officers as well as the people who are calling 911. That will be an example. So what do you think? Don't look at me blank, say something. What?
Good plan. I don't know. I'm going to go back through and read all of it and just kind of.
Yes, there are tons and tons of such pictures, and it's an interesting read. It's almost.
You have it, on your blog.
No, it's there. It's Amazon. Amazon has given reference architecture for almost any type of application you want to deploy there. So you can read them.
I'm trying to focus more on the CDN and how it works on like the content delivery.
So if that's the case, I would suggest you go to that blog again and do that exercise. Yeah, that's fine. So here, do that exercise yourself. You read it up, go to classroom, and do that exercise on your own. You can follow along what that thing is done. I've written down steps so you can use it and do it for yourself. So here it is, posted. There's a link. On your own, do it. Put some picture of yours and make it available in Singapore and worldwide, and measure the response time, how quickly a picture becomes delivered to somebody in Nepal, and measure that through a method called pingdom. These guys will do a monitoring for you. It's a free service for at least one domain. So use that, pingdom.com. Yeah, it's never ending. It's just mind-boggling. So back here, they have a variety of architectures. We will study all of them. I want you to start reading them. The way to go there is aws.com architecture center. I'll do just what I did, which is to walk you through. It is kind of hard to understand what's going on in the arrows and pictures and all that good stuff. So the example that we used here was a 911 emergency center. This is how back-end infrastructure will be put in place so that somebody can actually do media sharing. You create and consume. Right? You create media, you consume media. So this is the whole picture. This is what would it take to implement something in the cloud. Does that help? To give you an idea of what's going on in the picture, at least. They do not have too much write-up, so it's very, very minimal. They describe some 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8 points and some write-up on top, but there's just a one sheet.
So here main job is to upload or stream, right?
Right, main job is to create and consume.
Yeah, so because our main purpose is that if anybody wants to watch the video at the same time, you should be able to.
So
So what's
that-
the main reason of the queue here?
This queue is useful to process incoming videos and put them in the right spot so that people who need to see them can see them.
Oh, so your queue is pretty much just, it is
Okay.
a temporary spot then.
Okay.
Yeah, queue is a temporary spot. The actual store is here.
So how is gonna identify
Right,
that
the
which
best
one is
queue is
important
the-
and which one is not? Which video is important and which one?
Every video in 911 is important.
So,
Right, every single one of them. You cannot distinguish like that, right?
so how the queue is gonna?
It's first in, first out,
Okay.
pretty much. So you cannot distinguish between emergency services. Hey, your emergency is more emergency than other somebody else's. You cannot do that, right?
Someone keeps crying, cries wolf.
Yeah, crying wolf, but still 911 operators cannot distinguish like that. They have to deal with every single 911 operator, every single call. They have to deal with them. And so this can be real time also. Like, at the moment you're actually on the scene, crime scene, somebody makes a FaceTime call, you should be able to just guide them. And the officer sitting here looking at these videos, streaming on the real time. Huh?
And he said to him, the officer elsewhere watching it, so it's like, yeah, in safety.
I know. So yeah. So this is the example case study was totally hypothetical. We don't have it yet, and this is just a way of thinking about a problem,
Yeah.
right?
Makes sense.
Now take the Netflix example. When Netflix also does this conceptually very similar thing, except there is no FaceTime upload. So where do they get the videos from?
From the producers.
From the Hollywood, right? So Hollywood gives them what?
The raw, the most max.
The most maximum.
Maxed out resolution, bitrate, everything, full quality video available. You cannot even play it on this laptop. Honestly, it won't play.
That's Mac.
Yeah, it will not play. So it needs a higher end machine for that video to play. It's probably in movie theaters you see that is digital print. That's what is needed to play that video. It's really high quality if you go to a big theater. I don't know, I haven't actually seen video theaters from the back end, so I'm just assuming some of these things. But I'm pretty sure that they're electronic. There is no film these days. I've not seen it, but I'm betting money on this, that there is no film. In big movie theaters, at least in Bollywood, in this Bellevue where you live, in Seattle, I have not seen it. It's not a film. It's not a film anymore.
All the theaters gonna operate from cloud computing as
I
well.
think so. I think they are.
One destination, all the theaters can show
Yes.
a movie at the same time.
Right. And yeah, they time it and they do it. So that does the full resolution Hollywood production. But Netflix is not that. Netflix is not that. So what does Netflix need to do?
Make different versions of size for every
Right.
application.
Yes. So you have to reduce down the depth of the resolution itself, right? You have to address this resolution, you need a particular form factor. When I say form factor, what I mean by is this. Let's see, scaled. You see these numbers here? 1080p, 1080i, 720p, 1600 by 900. If I'll just change something right now, so here, it changed a different resolution. It changed to a different resolution again. And these are all the supported resolutions, and this may not work. So it's warning me, it may not work, about to change, and it will fail. And it did not fail apparently. And then
The new one is 4,000, right?
4K.
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 Yeah, it's
That's 4K.
5K.
We got 5K now.
This is 5,000.
They have 5K. His iMac is 5K.
So these resolutions that are available,
Samsung's Curve TV is cool.
Curve TV.
Yeah.
It curves.
Go to the Best Buy,
That's
check it
so,
out.
looks so good. It's like
It
the,
bends like
you feel
Yeah.
like you are
so
inside that TV, you know?
So it's more like an iMac.
So it kind of feels like it envelops you.
Yeah,
So it's like
If
you're
you're
watching
watching-
it, just did this.
yeah.
Just curved.
so to render on that display, you need one of these resolutions, and you need to meet them. Have you seen this picture before?
Yeah,
Hey,
so-
so the last
so
time.
last time.
Right.
Elizabeth
So,
was over here.
So this is 720p. Where is that? 720p.
To the right.
I lost my mouse.
Your left or right?
Yeah. So here is 720p here, this one, and that's the point. So all the way from top you count horizontally up to 1280, and then you go down to 720, and that's what 720p is. And here we have 1080p. Where is that 1080p? Here, 1080p, 1920 horizontal lines and 1080 vertical lines. That will make a 1080p. That's what you see in most commonly, that's what this display is, 1080p. So you have 1080 lines horizontally from top all the way to down. That's a 1080p TV. So to meet that resolution, you have to shrink it down. To shrink something down, you need a software. It is called FFmpeg, and you can run it on the terminal like Netflix does, or Netflix will use this FFmpeg software, which is open source, to create any other version out of any other version. If you go from big video to small, it'll be okay. But if you take a small video and make it big, what happens? Pixelation. What does pixelation mean?
It'll be blurry.
Blurry. Looks ugly. So you cannot do that.
Blur line.
Right? Blur. So you take a small video and try to make it on a big screen TV. What happens? That's what is pixel. Looks ugly. You cannot do that. So you have to go with the highest end that you have and shrink it to various sizes. That is one task that Netflix has to do to begin with. The other task is to also adjust codec. Codec is what can play on Android, may not necessarily play on iPhone. Have you seen that thing? What is it called? What is that thing that plays on Android and does not play on iPhone?
Flash. Yeah. Flash.
Flash is one. What else? Flash is a software, actually. It's not codec. So codecs, I'll give you examples. So codecs. Yes, that's a good example. So.
Or what is it, WMV?
So everybody and their brother has their own codec. Everybody and their own brother.
Windows Media.
They have their own codecs, and here are some examples coming up. It's not like nicely written. I'm not happy, so I'll write it myself. One very common format that you know already of is called MP3. What does it do?
Plays a media player.
Plays a music file, right? And plays music, plays sound. So it's music and sound.
MP4.
What does MP4 do?
Video.
Video. Bingo. So in Netflix, we are primarily concerned about video, so we'll ignore MP3 for now, right? Before we ignore it, there is another format that you may be aware of. It's called WAV.
Yep.
What is that?
Very rudimentary, like
Rudimentary
MIDI style.
MIDI?
Maybe a little bit. MIDI.
No, no, none of that. It is the purest
Purist.
form of audio.
Oh.
It's very big. It's what Hollywood will give you, but it's the purest form of audio. And you make it bad by making MP3.
Oh.
Okay?
Yeah, MP3, Media Player 3.
Yeah. No. No, media. It's not Media Player 3. It's called Motion JPEG Protocol number 3.
Okay.
There is a Motion JPEG consortium in which they have defined these protocols and codecs. So that's where this number MP comes from. But WAV is the purest form of audio. When you record through a microphone, that's what actually gets captured. And when you're capturing sound, what do you actually save? It's not pictures, right? What do you save? How do you save it? Yeah. Just tell me the file you will actually save. What will the file contain when you have a spoken word? Let's say I'll pick my microphone, like here. Okay, pick my microphone. Now I pick my microphone and say hello. And I want that saved. What do I save?
Hello. They have sound, audio.
What does it mean?
Digital expression.
It's not picture. Like if I take a video through a camera, 5-second video saying you saying hi, that becomes a sequence of pictures, right? 24, at least 24 in every second. That becomes a video. That's what you understand by a video. But what does what does sound mean?
Sound is wavelengths.
How do you save a wavelength in a file? I mean, let me answer this instead of asking questions. The way to answer this is that you actually store bit representation of height of the wave up or down. And here is a quick way to think about it.
Oh yeah, that's why they show like up and down.
Yeah. So you know this example, company called SoundCloud,
Yeah.
and I'm going to play whatever this music is. I don't even know what that thing is, but here it plays. Yeah. I don't know what that thing is.
Dubstep.
So whatever that music was playing, if you look at picture here, oh shut up. Yeah. So this representation is the height of sound, right? That's a quick representation. Let's look at some other pictures, otherwise I'll have to draw it. Sound waves.
Just use GarageBand.
There you go.
Yeah. So here is a good picture. So when you say hello, it actually produces a frequency that you create from your vocal cords. And that frequency is the up and down happening at that point in time. It can be way more than 24 every second. It doesn't have to be. It can be. A human speech is somewhere in between. Say a human ear can hear. Again, let me say that again. Human ear can hear 20 in 1 second, all the way through to 20,000 in 1 second. So motions, like you have this piece of paper. If I shake it, do you hear it? No. I have to shake this paper 20 times in 1 second. I cannot do that by my hand. But if I do, then it will sound really, really deep bass, low pitch sound, yeah, something like that. Yes, yeah, it will sound something like that. So if I do like this 20, 30, you will hear that. That's what is the wave motion that reaches your ear, and you will hear this. And that is low pitch. If a lady singer sings, she sings at a higher pitch than most male singers. So the pitch is higher, meaning her vocal cord is vibrating at a rate of probably more than 100 or 300 or even more. And this what's his name? Mariah Carey. Mariah Carey is known to sing. I know. I deliberately said that this way because I have seen the video. It's a nerd. That's what I resonate with. Is that what you're referring to?
Uh-huh.
Yes. So that lady is known to sing up to 9 octaves. So she can sing very low pitch all the way to very high pitch, when she's covering the whole frequency band. Not everybody can do that, but most people don't do that. So most vocal spoken frequencies is between say 50 hertz all the way to say 300 to 400 hertz. That's what most common people do. So they're producing these vibrations that are getting recorded in form of a wave that you actually sample for every height. So you will measure the height above this horizontal line, what is their height, and the height below the horizontal line in negative, and store these numbers in a file. That's what a wave file is, in very simple terms. And you will not, so if you store all these numbers in a wave file, the wave file becomes really, really big. Just like a flat file containing a really high definition video will containing raw images, 24 per second, really, really big it becomes. Raw images 24 per second is called raw video. And no camera here in this room probably do that. It will not do that. That camera shooting right there is actually shooting, but automatically converting these raw images into MP4 file. It's compressing it. So it is not doing a good job in preserving the preserving the fidelity expected of a Hollywood production. A Hollywood will give you raw images 24 per second in files after the picture after picture, all 24 pictures in every second for a 3-hour-long movie. And these pictures can be really, really big resolution. You know, you saw the resolution size, big. It's a very big file. That's what a raw video will be. And a raw WAV file is similar to that. WAV file. The audio part, a raw video, can also be large. These are just pictures after pictures, sequence after sequence, full digital, DNG formats or other formats you can use. But if you take a picture and align them up, create a video, that's what a video raw would look like. Now you have to convert these things. They're really big files. And that's the reason why you don't use WAV on a routine basis. You convert them, you shrink them, you dilute the fidelity a little bit. You lose something when you convert from WAV to MP3, or you convert raw video into MP4. You lose something, and it's okay, because your ears cannot tell, your eyes cannot see on such a small screen. So you cannot tell, so why send the whole thing? That's the reason they compress it and shrink it. And then different companies do it differently. Like Microsoft will do it WMV for video, and Apple will do it M4V for video. And some other companies will do this format, and some other companies will do this format. And AVI is just a container. So these are the codecs. You can have, it's a container. And so the idea is that you can have more codecs, like what's the codec called? VP8 codec from Google. And DivX is another codec that is not open source. These are also not open source. None of these codecs are open source. But I think this one is. This one is open source, I think. FLV is flash video, so it is not open source, but probably it is. OGG is another format. OGG Ogg Vorbis, and Ogg Vorbis is for audio, and Ogg Vorbis is Octheora is for video. And there are more. So every company has their own codec, and open source people have their own codecs. The challenge becomes, how do we render what we want to render on every device in the codec that they want to receive in? So this software called FFmpeg will convert any video into any other video, any codec into any other codec, any size into any other size, and this software is open source. There is another easier to use software, again in open source, called Mencoder. Is what is deployed in a service that Netflix will use, and you can see that implemented in another service called encoding.com. And what this does is gives you, can you tell me what encoding.com would do?
It'll encode your video.
That's right. That's exactly right. So it's a software as a service. Encoding.com converts and encodes your video in the format you want. They are running on EC2. You give them a task. Hey, here is my raw video. Encode it to me and put that in the bucket. Okay, give me money. They'll take money and do it for you. Service. Encoding.com. So this is the concept that Netflix has to do on their own. They don't use encoding.com, but the concept applies. These are the software that are available, and you can encode on your laptops, on your Ubuntu machines. You can actually use FFmpeg. It's installed, and you use FFmpeg like this. And you can study FFmpeg all day long. It's a complex piece of software to use, but there is documentation available. How do I convert this to that? And you can read up all day and actually make use of it. A simple way would be to, and I don't have a video file to show that to you, but I'll skip. Here is how you essentially run it. You say FFmpeg, do this, that, and put all these prefixes, put all the versions, all the flags that you want to put, provide codecs, and it's called hyper fast audio video encoder. That's what FFmpeg is, hyper fast audio video encoder. So that's what is being used on the back end by Netflix when they do that. So that was one of the tasks that Netflix has to do, is grab the videos raw form from Hollywood and encode them into target devices. What will be the targets? Target devices? Which will be the targets?
Everything.
Everything doesn't have to be a target though. Target is what users will actually use.
Well, every device that
Right.
connects.
They don't have to do everything. The point being, no, the point that I want to say is, it is not everything, is because why waste money if nobody's actually using that device? So you have to study the market and see what your users are actually using, and then focus only on that, and don't go everything. There are some phones called, I don't know what, they work in India and they play videos. Does Netflix worry about making their videos work on those silly phones in India? I don't think so. So it doesn't have to be everything. I'm being probably like super critical on the use of the word everything, but that's how companies talk. Right? If you say everything, no, I will not do everything. We'll ignore that and ignore this and focus only what is important. And so it's a choice of word. That's what I picked up on.
Every device that reaches you.
Every relevant device, if you say that,
Potential customer.
then I'll listen. If you say everything, I'll say no. If you say every relevant device, you qualify it by saying, I worry about my customers, and then it's okay. Because you're really looking at what target devices that your customers worry about. If they're stopping using iPhones anymore, then you don't have to worry about iPhones, because nobody uses. Why care? Right? That's right. So, yeah. Yeah, so 113 today, apparently. The stock price of Apple. Wow. Very good. Huh?
Is that up or down?
Way, way up.
You get the split their stock.
They split their stock long time ago,
Yeah.
but they're still going up. Well, stock discussions later. So the idea is, you identify your target devices and you encode for that, you shrink your sizes for that. You never go the other direction. You never expand the size, because that will be bad. You get that point, right? So you have to shrink it down to the target, to the codec that is expected, and make it available in every region that you want to service. That's the content part. What other things that Netflix has to do, apart from, okay, now I have the movies, then they are available. What else they have to do about to make it on your phone? So if you have Netflix, come and log in here. I have never logged in, but go ahead, log in on a browser, and let's play around with it.
I thought that you had Netflix.
Oh, I don't watch movies.
You said that you
My son had it in, so I don't have it.
You don't even have an account, but you are the customer. You said that.
Yeah. Yeah. He has a credit card now. He has a credit card now.
Whoa.
What do you do, dude?
I tried to open a new tab is what I tried to do.
That's because it's a Mac. That's the initial problem
Yeah.
right there.
Oh my goodness.
Actually gonna.
It requires being 10% smarter than the equipment you're dealing with.
There we go.
What's up, man? Come on.
Jobs that apply.
Motivation, man. Fake motivation.
Reconsider, Daniel.
Yeah, you can still use power.
Daniel. All it takes is 10%.
What do you mean?
10% smarter than the equipment you're dealing with.
So
My experience
yeah.
in on all the
And Yahoo.
Yahoo.
resumes is
Oh.
totally different.
So before you log in, I want to say a couple of things as you log in. So before you log
your
in,
password in there.
just put in a password. Don't sign in. Don't sign in. So let's look at what this thing is. What this thing is actually authenticating the user.
Right.
Right.
This is like signing in.
Signing in. You're authenticating. Are you the right person that you should be allowed? Should you be allowed in or not? That decision is happening right now. It's the entry to the club. Right? There is a Pope standing in front, and the Pope used to be a door person, if you remember.
It's like a knife RP.
Knife RB, your credentials. You essentially, that's an authentication service that is somebody going to put to use to let you in. Once you are in, before you go in, there are a variety of services that Netflix also has, which is the role of that service is to help you understand what Netflix is and sell it to you before you even log in, right? So they have all the systems regarding sales, marketing, email coupons, entice you to come and visit them, give you freebies for a month trial, 30-day free trial. All these things are tools that they have implemented that are not even they're all before login. Before you even log in, they still have to do a ton of work to get you into login, put your credit card in and have you sign on. There are lots of steps needed to make it happen. What that involves is it's a storefront. That store will help you understand what do they have, understand the value they provide, and then make you give your credit card number so that they'll sell you. That's what the whole infrastructure is about. It's the sales apparatus they have put together. Can you tell me an example without logging in? Where would you find that?
Like in your information, like when you go to log
Yeah,
in.
how do you find sales and marketing infrastructure for Netflix? How do you find it on a browser?
About company maybe.
Yeah, so here is here is a browser, and I don't know what Netflix is. How will I find out about Netflix?
Movie streaming.
Yeah, that's a good one. So movie streaming, does that even bring up Netflix on top? Reddit and Uflix and Crackle and Buttermouth and all don't know. There's no Netflix. So that's a problem for Netflix, isn't it?
Yeah. Online movies, no, you don't.
Solar movies.
So how will people who do not know Netflix, there is no such person, by the way, I hope, I don't know, but if people who do not know Netflix, what will they do to find out about Netflix? How will they start selling Netflix, what Netflix is? It doesn't even show up in any of these, right? You have Tom's Hardware, you have tech support, alert,
TV advertisement, coupons,
streaming TV.
mail.
Yo,
You got-
put in watch TV shows online. Oh yeah.
Oh, that will go to pirated sites.
No, it shouldn't be.
Yeah, it will. We'll try that.
You'll probably bring out Hulu and Amazon maybe
Yeah.
first.
Search it. Hulu, there's Hulu.
There's Hulu, but there's no Netflix, right? There's Hulu at the bottom.
And yeah, Hulu.com, that's it.
So that's a problem that Netflix does not have to worry about anymore, because people know already Netflix, right? By the name, they have such a solid brand recognition. But initial days, they had this problem. I don't know how they solve it. I have no idea. But that's one. The next step is you go now. Somehow people figure out, okay, Netflix.com. So you open up here, Netflix.com, and what do you see? Before you even log in, they will try to sell you.
30-day free trial.
Right? Where do you see that?
As
So
soon
go
as you
click.
log in.
Don't log in and see what do you see?
What's TV show?
Right. So what they are really trying to show you. So don't sign in. So go back. Go back. So there are various things to look at here in this, which is they are showing a couple of things. This is a sales page. This actually translates to a back-end website that is doing selling and marketing. They're communicating values. There has to be a service that will does this, right? So this is the sales infrastructure that they'll put. If you have lots of people trying to understand what Netflix is, this is the place to go. And so in here, what they're really showing off is not the movie itself, is not anything but, what are they really trying to show here?
Like how you can enjoy the day.
Engaged people. Right? They're really showing that people are engaged, busy, happy, enjoying. Right? Engaged. See, people are really engaged. That's what they're really trying to show and communicate. All these pictures on the sales page will disappear after you log in. The pictures will disappear. These pictures, the happy family, the students studying something, I don't know what they're doing. But yeah. So the idea behind a sales site is to help you understand the value by relating to it. You relate to a family person of this guy looking at whatever he's looking at. So that's what you associate yourself with. You want to see yourself in that position. Hey, I want to have fun like these guys are having. That's the thing that is the set of services that Netflix has to do even before you log in. Having driven that point,
And
I will now.
all the different devices you can use it in too.
Yeah, go ahead, click that. Yeah.
You already signed in onto the other
No, I
tab.
didn't sign in.
Well, I'm saying it was already set up on the other tab you had.
Yeah.
MacBook is complicated. Huh?
Keep.
Who's watching? Daniel?
Daniel.
Kids? Profile.
So that was first thing, right? Who's watching? So they'll decide who the visitor is, and depending on that visitor or the person, the customer, they will identify what to show. And now here you see what is known as what is it called? Tail, long tail. You see a long tail. You heard the word long tail before? So imagine a long tail. Search keyword. Look, Wikipedia long tail. Wikipedia long tail. So the long tail aspect is almost seemingly infinite choice is what long tail is. So it includes all the Bollywood movies that, look at this picture, right? It's a seemingly infinite choice of options of movies that I can watch, including those 1930 Bollywood movies that I don't even care about that exist on Netflix. Why it is important for Netflix to have it?
Just in case someone wants it.
Right, to show leadership that I got it even if nobody watches it. Right? Now try doing that thing in a Blockbuster store in this location. Can you do that? Why? Impossible. Like, it's expensive. Yeah, but makes sense. Blockbuster was killed by these guys. So the reason they got killed is because they cannot replicate a long tail like this. This long tail is a benefit that Netflix seems to provide because they actually give you this illusion that I have everything. What do you want? Come on in. Pay me $7.99 month after month. And by the way, first month is free. Right? This illusion is coming from this fact that they are able to serve a long tail of videos. Globally, forget nationwide. So if you log in, you will see all your interest. If I log in, if I do, like some while ago I did, then it used to show me all Bollywood movies. Why?
That's what you watch. Customized.
Right? All of them is true. Correct. It figured out that I am from a particular country and I seem to like those silly Bollywood movies that nobody else likes. Here.
And it gave me a whole set of different, when I logged in Munich, it gave me a whole different.
Tell me more. Tell me more. What did you see?
Well, definitely more Bollywood movies, and a lot more German and other European movies as well as.
So it tracks the IP.
Yes, it does track IP address. It does track time of day.
One other thing with Netflix, if it also tracks you by your IP address.
Yes, it does.
It tracks your account by IP address.
Yes, it does.
Because I would log into my account, and somebody else in my house had an account as well, and I would log in and I would see his name, and it would ask me which user I am. But we had different accounts.
Right. Yeah. And so these characteristics are very important for them to personalize experience and tailor it for you.
I wish they wouldn't.
You can disable that. There is a way to disable that somewhere. There should be a way to disable that personalization if you like.
Because you're getting same kind of movie again and again.
Yeah, you have to. There are ways to work around it, but just like Salesforce.com had this $1 million hackathon a few years ago, I think I mentioned. Even Netflix had a competition, not hackathon, where they awarded $1 million to come up with the best algorithm that will predictively tell what will the movie be that you may want to watch next. Did I say that here?
Yeah.
Right. So.
We don't have you set up though.
That's where they got their current algorithm from.
Right. So that's how they got it. Spent $1 million to find out how do they should sit properly and not break the chair and my backbone. So let's look at some of the movies. Like I'll pick this guy. Sure.
So they've got my, right there you got my recently watched, and then below they have the top picks for me. I didn't pick those, it's just what the algorithm told them.
I mean, that's what you
So
want.
recently watched is very obvious. You already have a queue that you just finished, right? And you have popular on Netflix and other. And then top picks is recommendations coming, right? So if you look at any particular segment like this, you know, where is that thing? Which one is it? Yeah.
Please note that my wife and my sister-in-law both use this account.
Please note, you
I
can
see.
make accounts for
So which is a good movie, which is like a Django. Okay, Django is reasonable. So I'm not playing the movie, but I'm just trying to identify.
Candyman, what is Cotton? I forgot.
So let's look at the link address. I'm more worried about the link address part, not the movie itself. So look at that link address which I got from here for the Django movie. Let's look at this. It is the HTTP protocol coming from Netflix and starting off a player.
Wii player?
B player. I don't know what that means, but there is a movie ID. There's a movie ID.
That's probably provided by Hollywood. Or no, Cloud.
What is kid equal? TR.
So I think it's all ASCII codes, right?
This is an identifier for some time stamp, including your position in the queue, or how much you have watched into the movie, some associated characteristics. It's this item number 11, this line number 11 is an indicator of specific to Daniel. Movie ID is here, you know that. Track ID and a TCTX, I don't know what that is, but that is some kind of an identifier. It may mean you have a particular track in English language, German language, who knows what language. So it might have a variety of meaning to it, but what I'm trying to distill down is that this movie Django is actually stored as movie ID number this in some database.
Right.
Right? So if
You
you
can try and go through the actual.
yeah, so if you if you go look here in the data store, you will have a movie ID. And the movie itself is sitting in this bucket. The movie file. Now let's try to grab the movie file. I don't think we should do that.
We should do that.
No.
Let's do it.
No.
You're logged in?
It's not. No. So no, I can actually bring the movie down. I don't want to do that.
How do you
But
do it?
no, I'm not telling.
YouTube it.
No, I'm not telling. I'm not doing it either. So the idea is there is this video file corresponding to this movie
Right.
that you get to stream in a player, right?
Wouldn't that be a grabber?
So, huh?
Wouldn't that be a grabber?
No, it's not a grabber. See, it is this player that they render, and this player is DRM protected, meaning you cannot pirate, cannot copy, cannot
Yeah.
duplicate legally.
But
Right.
you can,
Yeah, so forget, stay legal. You can
Yeah, it's legal. You say that. You can make copy, but you can't sell it.
not this.
not this one.
No, not streaming videos, only DVD media. So you get to play a video file in a player. Now what does a player look like? In open source, I will show you an example. In JW player is an example.
Make sure he signs out.
So this is the world's most popular player.
Why everybody claims that?
VLC is probably the most
Yeah,
popular.
VLC.
VLC doesn't play in a browser.
Oh,
Oh, we don't care about a browser, we care about
I thought we were talking about VLC.
So you cannot run Netflix in VLC, can you?
Nope.
You're talking about Netflix, right? It has to be in this context in a browser. So you have to have a player that works in a web browser, and that's one example of a player. So you associate this player that plays like this, play some video that they have here.
Oh, it's the T-shirt you're wearing. Look at that. It exactly matches that you just showed. The
Huh.
first one at the
It's a
beginning.
conspiracy.
Look at that.
Is it? No. Yeah. Okay. So the idea behind this is, if you look at this video file is coming to this window from some CDN, and a CDN would be our CloudFront becomes an example. So it is showing this CloudFront is showing that video to us, and it is sitting in this bucket here in S3. That's where it comes from. Similar example would be that Django movie getting played through this V player.
Sitting in that bucket.
Again, sitting right in that bucket. Meaning somebody has to put the item in the bucket. Who will that be? The person who coded, the CPU that encoded it, will have to put it in the right bucket and put an entry in the data store so that it knows which movie is stored where. Meaning this example of this movie ID is stored in, the information is stored here, the movie is stored here, you get to render it through vPlayer in your browser window through this pipe. You get the idea?
Because you go
Somewhat.
to the left, right?
Yep.
Tells you that, and then it delivers it to you.
So the information, movie ID is stored here, movie stored here, it goes down to you through
So when
the
you type in XYZ, you take the left path, correct?
XYZ.
Like whatever you type in, right?
Uh-huh.
You're gonna take your
Even
stuff,
this
when you
route?
press enter, it goes the left route, right?
In this route?
Yeah.
In this picture, yes.
Yes, and
Correct.
then it comes back around to you.
Back comes from here.
Right.
And this segment is not used in Netflix.
That's Netflix.
Not in Netflix. It's uploading.
Right,
So this is where the user is not you or a person on the street,
that would be
but
Netflix uploading
is
to their area.
it's going to be Hollywood
Right.
uploading to Netflix.
Okay.
When
Or you
Netflix.
uploading to YouTube.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Yes, you upload to YouTube, you go to this route like this.
Right.
And then you watch your own videos through YouTube, you come from that route. And you watch from here. That will be an example implementation. This is very similar to YouTube. Yes, very, very similar. This is actually a good example. YouTube also fits. You have upload engine and you have download engine, a rendering engine. So create and consume, both. Right. Create media, consume media, both of these are available. In this picture represents YouTube also. Yes. In case of Netflix, this line is broken. The user is not involved. Hollywood is involved. So Hollywood directly will upload, or maybe Netflix will upload on behalf of Hollywood. Everything else is similar concept. Not exactly like this, but conceptually it is like this. So such players is what are used in the example that you see in this vPlayer, and grab a movie ID and start rendering it, and also remember what position you are. So you can watch a movie up like 10 minutes into the movie on this device, or maybe on this device, and then you pause because you want to drive and you want to continue watching the remainder while you drive. It will start from that 10-minute point onwards on this device. It doesn't play video. It does not. No, it's disabled. I know. It doesn't play video. Disabled.
You haven't released an SDK version of your?
Yeah, we need to jailbreak the car first.
Yes.
Surprised it didn't. I'm surprised Tesla didn't release any SDK.
No, they don't want to.
Well, there's work
Yeah,
for that.
I can upgrade my car if I jailbreak it, but I cannot yet.
You can jailbreak it?
Yeah, it is technically possible. At some point, somebody will do it, not me.
Because it's not technically
People with
yours.
no.
Yeah, the jailbreak ideas are a variety of them. So we'll talk about that later. So the idea here is that you get to, so you don't take risks.
So you're saying that it's the player who remembers where the user is stuff, it's not the Netflix backend?
Player will tell Netflix backend where are you,
Okay.
and will remember that in the data store on the very back end, like here. It will remember where you left, and will resume from that point onwards when you start again.
It varies by the
Yeah,
user.
the player is ephemeral. It dies. You shut the browser, it's gone.
Yeah.
It doesn't even remember where you started. So the thing that any memory has to be all the way to the back here. That has to know where you were, and they'll keep track of what you are doing to your account. So if you have one login and you log in here and somebody else logs in there, I don't know what the limit is, but if you start watching a movie here and your wife is watching at your home, she'll start complaining. Does it happen like that?
No, you can have up to 5 devices at the same time.
5 devices there. So if the 6th device starts up, what happens?
You can't even log in.
You can. You can always log
One
in.
out.
You can always log in. The last guy kicked out. You can always log in, right? What if I lose my 5 devices?
I don't think so. The new Netflix, like if you already 5 people are already
You
logged
should-
in, you won't even let you log in on the 6th one.
You have to call them. Is it?
Yeah. You have to call your friend or somebody to disconnect one first, then you have to log in.
Okay. So they stopped manually kicking out, apparently.
They're getting ready to do 4K streaming.
Yes, Netflix. YouTube is already doing it. YouTube is already doing 4K streaming, which is hard but possible. And there are special codecs available that are able to do that. That really compress the bandwidth down to your Comcast line or Quest line, and still render.
I don't think the audience is that huge for 4K right
Just
now.
wait, like wait.
It is growing. It is so this day after Thanksgiving, you will have 4K TVs for $399.
Yep.
I bought my 4K TV for $299.
What?
Yes.
How much is it?
Yes. Huh?
Where?
50.
It's a 50
Yeah.
inch.
It's some random Chinese company. I don't even know the name. But it works. The point is it
What's the
works.
refresh rate?
If it passes American
30.
standards, it's good.
Yeah, it works.
If it passes US standards, it should be good.
It works. $299.
Good is a relative term.
Good.
Yeah, it works. It's sitting in my office. My wife will not watch it. She wants a Samsung, but I'm okay with that. Just make it sit in my office.
Is it a curved TV or is that on black?
No, I don't know what. She says she has something like this from Samsung. So
That's the difference between good promoter and stale.
the idea would be to stream a video to somebody. You have to think about a whole lot of things to make it happen. That was just one example. Give me a minute. I want to think if I'm missing anything. That I want to bring it up for discussion, so you will know the things to think about. I think what Rahul said and what Jason said were very relevant in the context that not everybody has to code in a company, right? You have like out of Microsoft 100,000 people, only 20,000 code. That's what Rahul said.
Yeah.
In his company, current company, Aptio, very few people actually code. Not everybody codes, but then everybody needs to understand what's going on so that you can actually do it. So that is the point I'm trying to drive, is help you think as to what things are, how things work together for a solution for somebody, so that you can, if you have that perspective, you can talk about it even if you don't code. Coding is not that important. It is important, but it's just one of the functions. Like customer services. I think customer service is more important than coding. Don't get me wrong. If your service is right, if you're dealing it, you will continue to get business. That is a given, and it is acknowledged. And you had this guy, the other Indian guy who came, Saurya. What did he tell you? This Saurya guy comes from a poor Indian family, and so do I. Really poor Indian family that I did not have money to feed ourselves when I was young, and so was he. And he grew up, and he went to an Ivy League school. Cornell is not chump change school. On his own money in this country. He came to this country. He's still on a visa, H1. He still does not have a green card like I do. He's fresh. FOB. You know what FOB is?
Fresh out.
Yes, he's FOB, like I was. He's FOB. He came to this country. He comes from a poor country and a poor person in a poor country like I was. And if he can do it, why can't you? What prevents? That's what he wanted me to tell you. He told me to tell you this, that you have no restriction, no such thing as visa limitations. You have freedom. It's your country. What prevents you from succeeding is the question.
It's the mindset.
No, it's all in your mind. There is nothing that prevents you from succeeding. Nothing.
Networking.
It's not just networking.
No,
It's also not just the.
people become too comfortable.
I know.
Take it for granted.
Right.
Yeah.
True. And that is one thing that he reminded me to tell you this. He reminded me to tell you this, that there is no limits on what you can do. If he can do it, why can't you? That's what he said to tell you. So I'm telling you this. And I know he comes from a really small town called Cuttack. It may not be on the map.
And I think it also goes like what you have seen in your life. I mean,
Yeah.
It goes
Yeah,
like,
he probably lives next to this temple.
if you have something that you have never seen, you can't even take a thought over there.
So yeah, the state itself is poor. It's backwaters in India. That's where he comes from. Cuttack, it doesn't even open. See, the site doesn't even open. Standardized portal of Cuttack district. So that's what Cuttack is. They apparently have some site now, which is nice. So if you look at Cuttack, it's a really small town. They're known for this god and this temple, and
Football field.
this is how it looks like. Yeah, pretty small. Cuttack montage. Yeah. So small town, poor guy comes into this country and succeeds. You can do it way better than what he did. That's what he wanted me to tell you, and I told you. So remember that. Don't forget. You can do a whole lot better than all these people coming from abroad, because you have you don't have restrictions, and you have support.
Mark.
Huh? Sorry. What was that?
You said Mark.
America. It's
Oh, the country, America. Yeah, yes.
America. America.
Yes. If you talk to a South American, they think they are Americans. Do you know that, right?
They are
Yeah.
American. But they're not Americans.
Americans, but they're not America.
Yes. So there is literally nothing. It's all in your head what you can do. That's what he wanted me to tell you, and I've like told you 3 times. Not repeating that. Not repeating that anymore. The thing that I may be missing on Netflix is this perspective that Netflix has, which is DVDs yeah, they still have DVDs option apparently, yes.
Because there's like a lot of TV shows or stuff like
They're
that.
not available, so you can get
So you
couple
have to
discs
pay
at a
extra
time.
money to get DVDs sent to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's a lot of stuff that's not on.
Yeah.
So if I ask you what is the real business of Netflix, what would you answer in one sentence?
Service.
Software as a service.
Software as a service. What do they really worry about?
Customers.
Customer
Customers
satisfaction.
God.
Yeah, customers got that. What is their business? What do they look for?
The providing.
How do they provide customer?
continually.
Do you? Yes. Do you call them
No.
when my movie doesn't play? Have you ever called Netflix?
No, I call Comcast and say,
Right.
You get yelled at right away.
hey, I want to play the Gilmore Girls. Because there's a 99% chance that it's
Yeah.
Comcast.
So have you ever emailed or called customer service for Netflix? No.
Customer is outstanding. I mean, their service is outstanding.
I've never
Right.
They're
Does it mean that they never have failures?
No, they have probably.
So what is going on?
We just assume it's
They have
Comcast.
backup, good backup.
Now what is going on is they are actually looking at what you're watching, how you're watching, how much have you watched, did it play, what was the frame rate, what was the resolution, how was the quality of experience. They're measuring it behind your back all the time. If you find that a particular region or a pocket or some people in a particular neighborhood are suffering, and when I say suffering, the video doesn't play properly, that's what I mean by suffering. It's America, right? So that's what the level of suffering is different. So when people are really suffering, the videos are not playing, they complain. So they don't even have to complain because Netflix will detect that the videos are not playing and actually deploy tools and services and sometimes engineers to fix the problem on their own without you having to call them. It happens just like that.
So I got a caveat to that. I wonder if you could limit your own internal bandwidth so bad that they pump it out, they open up a pipe, the pipeline to bigger, so that we just get a bigger pipeline and then catch bottleneck.
No.
If
No,
you have like
no.
a slow service, it takes so long.
The thing is that if you have a really thin pipe, they will tell you that you have a thin pipe and not play video, as opposed to letting you play a jerky video. So they will say that, you know what, please call Comcast.
Yeah, I've experienced that.
Yeah. Or call your ISP. They'll even tell you what the name of the ISP is because they can tell that.
Yeah, because
And-
it's nice for them
yeah.
to know that.
Right. And so they will identify who the culprit is and pinpoint the culprit by studying everybody all the time. You are being watched when you are watching.
They're watching you watching the
Yeah,
TV.
they're watching you watching TV all the time.
Just like Microsoft with the Kinect. While you're playing video games, they watch you.
Connect as in K-I-N-E, that connect? Yes, they watch. They look at you like they can.
What's your take on net neutrality?
Neutrality, net neutrality?
Yeah, what's your take on
So that's a good topic. So if you know, I'll bring it up in 2 minutes. The amount of traffic on the internet at prime time, meaning these evening hours.
House of Cards.
House of Cards. That's a unique competitive advantage for Netflix, but the amount of prime time bandwidth, you're trying to sell me signal already? You're giving me a signal or something? It's not that time yet. We have 15 more minutes.
Just very quick.
Yeah.
You know what that
Preparing
means?
for the
You
inevitable.
know what that means? You're going to be the one he asks to do the
Email.
I already did it. I was like,
Foreign
the
tool.
second
First one to put their computer away.
Foreign tool.
So,
Don't ask me to write.
okay, hold on. Let me finish a couple of things. The amount of internet bandwidth consumed in our country in the prime time, how much percent of that is Netflix? Do you know?
Yeah.
30%. It's just like 80%.
Yeah,
30%.
30%, something like that. Last time. Yeah. Yes. It's huge. It is huge. Yeah, it is huge. So what does that mean to net neutrality?
Well,
They need priority
Well,
traffic.
they are lobbying like all the internet providers.
Now, do they
they
need?
would get charged more.
Do they need priority, or do we want them to have priority?
We want them to have priority.
They would of course need priority because it's their business. So they go ahead. Yeah, it does.
Comcast would bog them down.
Comcast deliberately bogs them down and extorts money from them.
They sure do.
And they signed a contract with Comcast and some other companies and pay them bounty to let them get priority traffic. And they're doing it for Netflix users like you,
Yeah.
at the cost of non-Netflix users like me. I'm just kidding. But the idea is net neutrality should be there, I think. It should be there. It's not there yet. But Obama said something. I don't know what he said. He 2 days ago said something. I don't know what. I didn't even read.
You compared
Obama.
to Obamacare.
Well, it was. I think they actually ruled that all data would be created equal, so they can't charge extra for.
Yeah, they should not charge extra.
fast lanes.
I think it should be like a utility, meaning everybody gets the
Because that would be
service.
terrible for small guys
Yeah.
trying to.
right, correct. And that's what I worry about,
Yeah.
is for the small guys. So, who's the volunteer today?
Was that?
Who's the volunteer to write today? A short email?
So you forgot their computer the other day?
Wasn't done yet.
I like.
Who hasn't done it yet? Just pick a volunteer.
Just what we learned in class today.
Yeah,
That's
so
what you put.
You need practice on how to write.
Not it.
Writing right.
You put LEARNT.
Wow. So it must be.
Half fucking doing it.
I'm looking at him.
How about the semen?
I ain't done that.
Yeah.
Not it.
See, have you wrote an email yet? Did you? No. So it's your day today. What happened? So it's your time, your day. No, Ken already wrote.
I've already wrote.
Kel wrote.
It's like shit.
I was about to say, because we've got 19 people in here, and we haven't done 19 weeks.
Yeah, I know. But do we really get 19 people? Let's count. 1,
19.
2, 3, 4,
No, Toba
5,
is
6,
not
7, 8,
We're
9,
missing a couple.
He's not
11,
here.
12,
Stephanie and
15.
Chad.
Yeah, we get 15, but I've never seen 21. I mean, like only the first day. That has been the bad thing. So
he left after the report.
yeah, so there's one guy who left. We should see 20, and I don't see that. That's my problem. That is my problem.
It's because you don't bring donuts every week. It's really that brings people together.
Dang.
What, voodoo donuts?
Yeah, voodoo donut run every year.
You will make me drive on.
No, there's a legit donut place just on the opposite side of.
And so I had OpenStack set up. What do I do with it? What do I do with it? So I'm going to give you homework and seriously do this. Seriously. So here is the homework assignment. It will be very simple. It is OpenStack.
Okay.
And OpenStack homework is this. docs.openstack.com. No, I would like you to read Juno, not Icehouse.
Juno and do what with it? Oh, should have been in the class.
You know what I'm talking about?
I do not. Yeah. I want to say it's not Jose. I do not. Not even upscale, not serious.
Do you have a TriStack account already?
No.
I told you this. Yeah, Facebook one. Did you get that?
No, I got approved.
Who did not get TriStack?
No idea.
Okay, here is what you do. Go to trystack.org, sign up with your Facebook and become a member of the group. They'll give you OpenStack for free.
Ooh.
So get that. So you join the Facebook group,
So they can eventually have Facebook.
and when you do that, you just log in using Facebook like this. And you get OpenStack. There is a catch. Yes. The catch is that the machines you create in this stack, in this OpenStack, die in 24 hours. Do you care? No.
Yes.
If you care, then you set up your own OpenStack. But if you don't care, get this. Get this TriStack, trystack.org, sign up, Facebook, click, join the group, and if you are in the group, they'll let you in. Log in. You just saw it.
And then what?
So here is the assignment.
TriStack, yeah.
They may not approve for everybody if there is a rush going. So they might roll out slowly. So here is a TriStack link. So do that. Yeah, the membership will be pending for a day or two, and then it will pick up. They'll probably approve you at some point. So that was TriStack. The next thing I want you to do is to understand what is this thing. Which is a good one to read.
Architecture and design guy.
I think that's a good one.
She tries it.
Where is use? I did not see that.
Yeah. I told them that I got
No.
lots of canvas.
I think
Yeah,
architecture
no,
would be the
no,
first thing to read.
Architecture is good. This is good.
Yeah. I feel like
Do you have do all of you have a method of reading electronic books? All of you. Who does not have a method of reading ebook?
If you don't have a smartphone, you might not.
Ebook, right?
Read it off my smartphone, but I could.
If you have a method of reading ebook, then download an ebook from them. They'll give you an ebook somewhere. So here is the reading guide. What I want you to read all the way through
I love art.
is up to number 5.
I hate digital content.
All the way from 0 through number 5 is what I want to read. It's a long read, but this is what I want you to read
Okay.
on your own, and I'll tell you a summary next time we meet.
Okay. I'm gonna read it.
But that doesn't mean you don't read. Okay, here is
Like
reading.
your narrated summaries better.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah, you explain it so better, Nilesh.
put that
Oh my God.
Yeah, you're awesome.
Good notes.
What?
Yeah,
You explain it so better.
you got this voice that just really brings it home.
You know. I think you should hold on. So you talk about soothing voice. The thing I want to say about is not. No. There's Hail.
The Seattle Seahawks and Green Bay
Hail
Packers.
Hydra.
Hail Mary.
No, not Hail Hydra. But Hail. It's called.
Hell no.
Halo.
Yeah,
Halo.
honestly, integrity.
So here's a video. You should listen to this video. It's a 5-minute one. There is a Hail method. I think we should play this video. It's worthy of listening. It's a TED talk.
Okay.
This guy describes how to talk so people will listen.
Okay.
Be loud.
Let's
do it.
I'll be an NTO.
I love hot dogs. Technology, something design.
Have you ever seen this?
Technology education design.
The human voice. It's the instrument we all play. It's the most powerful sound in the world, probably. It's the only one that can start a war or say, I love you. And yet many people have the experience that when they speak, people don't listen to them. Why is that? How can we speak powerfully to bring change in the world? Well, I'd like to suggest there are a number of habits that we need to move away from. I've assembled for your pleasure here 7 deadly sins of speaking. I'm not pretending this is an exhaustive list, but these 7, I think, are pretty large. Habits that we can all fall into. First, gossip. Speaking ill of somebody who's not present. Not a nice habit, and we know perfectly well the person gossiping.
So one thing on this point. I heard in your class, some of you say sometimes not so good things about the army. Never do that, ever. From this point on, never say anything negative about a previous employer, whatsoever. Always say good things about it, like, teamwork, camaraderie, goal orientation, result focused. You did it, you enjoy it. That's what you should say. Anything else that you may have said to me, erase that from your memory. Praise your previous employer. Find out all the good things about it. Keep going.
5 minutes later, we'll be gossiping about us. Second, judging. We know people who are like this in conversation, and it's very hard to listen to somebody if you know that you're being judged and found wanting at the same time. Third, negativity. You can fall into this. My mother in the last years of her life became very, very negative, and it's hard to listen. I remember one day I said to her, it's October the 1st today, and she said, I know, isn't it dreadful? It's hard to listen when somebody's that negative. And another form of negativity, complaining. Well, this is the national art of the UK. It's our national sport. We complain about the weather, about sport, about politics, about everything. But actually complaining is viral misery. It's not spreading sunshine and lightness in the world. Excuses. We've all met this guy. Maybe we've all been this guy. Some people have a blame thrower. They just pass it on to everybody else and don't take responsibility for their actions. And again, I have to listen to somebody who's being like that. Penultimate, the 6th of the 7, embroidery, exaggeration. It demeans our language, actually, sometimes. For example, if I see something that really is awesome, what do I call it? And then, of course, this exaggeration becomes lying, out and out lying, and we don't want to listen to people we know are lying to us. And finally, dogmatism. The confusion of facts with opinions. When those two things get conflated, you're listening into the wind. Somebody is bombarding you with their opinions as if they were true. It's difficult to listen to that. So here they are, 7 deadly sins of speaking. These are things I think we need to avoid. But is there a positive way to think about this? Yes, there is. I'd like to suggest that there are 4 really powerful cornerstones, foundations, that we can stand on if we want our speech to be powerful and to make change in the world. Fortunately, these things spell a word. The word is hail, and it has a great definition as well. I'm not talking about the stuff that falls from the sky and hits you on the head. I'm talking about this definition, to greet or acclaim enthusiastically, which is, I think, how our words will be received if we stand on these 4 things. So what do they stand for? See if you can guess. The H, honesty, of course. Being true in what you say, being straight and clear. The A is authenticity, just being yourself. A friend of mine described it as standing in your own truth, which I think is a lovely way to put it. The I is integrity, being your word, actually doing what you say, and being somebody people can trust. And the L is love. I don't mean romantic love, but I do mean wishing people well. For 2 reasons. First of all, I think absolute honesty may not be what we want. I mean, my goodness, you look ugly this morning. Perhaps that's not necessary. Tempered with love, of course, honesty is a great thing. But also,
wishing somebody well, it's very hard to judge them at the same time. I'm not even sure you can do those two things simultaneously. So hail. Also, now that's what you say, and it's like the old song, it is what you say, it's also the way that you say it. You have an amazing toolbox. This instrument is incredible, and yet this is a toolbox that very few people have ever opened. I'd like to have a little rummage in there with you now, just to get a few tools out that you might like to take away and play with, which will increase the power of your speaking. Register, for example. Now, falsetto register may not be very useful most of the time, but there's a register in between. I'm not going to get very technical about this for any of you who are voice coaches. You can locate your voice, however. So if I talk up here in my nose, you can hear the difference if I go down here in my throat, which is where most of us speak from most of the time. But if you want weight, you need to go down here to the chest. You hear the difference? We vote for politicians with lower voices. It's true. Because we associate depth with power and with authority. That's register. And we have timbre. It's the way your voice feels. Again, the research shows that we prefer voices which are rich, smooth, warm, like hot chocolate. Well, if that's not you, that's not the end of the world, because you can train. Go get a voice coach. And there are amazing things you can do with breathing, with posture, and with exercises to improve the timbre of your voice. Then prosody. I love prosody. This is the sing-song, the meta-language that we use in order to impart meaning. It's route one for meaning in conversation. People who speak all on one note are really quite hard to listen to if they don't have any prosody at all. That's where the word monotonic comes from, or monotonous, monotone. Also, we have repetitive prosody now coming in, where every sentence ends as if it were a question, when it's actually not a question, it's a statement. And if you repeat that one over and over, it's actually restricting your ability to communicate through prosody, which I think is a shame. So let's try and break that habit. Pace. I can get very, very excited by saying something really, really quickly, or I can slow right down to emphasize. And at the end of that, of course, is our old friend, silence. There's nothing wrong with a bit of silence in a talk, is there? You don't have to fill it with ums and ahs. It can be very powerful. Of course, pitch often goes along with pace to indicate arousal, but you can do it just with pitch. Where did you leave my keys? Where did you leave my keys? It's a slightly different meaning in those two deliveries. And finally, volume. I can get really excited by using volume, sorry about that, if I startled anybody. Or I can have you really pay attention by getting very quiet. Some people broadcast the whole time, try not to do that. That's called softcasting. Imposing your sound on people around you carelessly and inconsiderately, not nice. Of course, where this all comes into play most of all is where you've got something really important to do. It might be standing on a stage like this and giving a talk to people. It might be proposing marriage, asking for a raise, a wedding speech, whatever it is. If it's really important, you owe it to yourself to look at this toolbox and the engine that it's going to work on. And no engine works well without being warmed up. Warm up your voice. Actually, let me show you how to do that. Would you all like to stand up for a moment? I'm going to show you the 6 vocal warm-up exercises that I do before every talk I ever do. Anytime you're going to talk to anybody important, do these. First, arms up, deep breath in, and sigh out. One more time. Very good. Now we're going to warm up our lips, and we're going to go bop, 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 bop. Very good. And now, just like when you were a kid. Now your lips should be coming alive. We're going to do the tongue next with exaggerated la, 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 la. Beautiful. You're getting really good at this. And then roll an R. That's like champagne for the tongue. Finally, and if I can only do one, the pros call this the siren. It's really good. It starts with the wee and goes to or. The wee is high, the or is low. So you go wee. Fantastic. Give yourselves a round of applause. Stacey, thank you.
Yeah.
Next time you speak, do those in advance. Now, let me just put this in context to close. This is a serious point here. this is where we are now, right? We speak not very well into people who simply aren't listening in an environment that's all about noise and bad acoustics. I have talked about that on this stage in different phases. What would the world be like if we were speaking powerfully to people who are listening consciously in environments which were actually fit for purpose? Or to make that a bit larger, what would the world be like if we were creating sound consciously, and consuming sound consciously, and designing all our environments consciously for sound? That would be a world that does sound beautiful, and one where understanding would be the norm. And that is an idea worth spreading.